I think so. You know, the minimum wage debate is an interminable one, if you ask me, with the suggestions coming from every angle. Organized labor is still trifling with it, hoping that it and government could meet somewhere in the middle. The National Association of Academic Technologists, NAAT, has thrown its hat in the ring for the ongoing national minimum wage debate. It's therefore proposing a staggering 350,000 naira monthly wage for Nigerian workers. And so the question is this rational and is it sustainable? CK.
Well, before anybody can ask for anything. But the reality, you have to look at the reality on ground. When you say, most people don't understand, when you say minimum wage, you have to understand that minimum wage means those at level 1.
One to, I think.
About 6 or 8. Yeah. About 1 to 6, 7. Yes. That is what we're talking about. Then it continues to graduate. So it's 350. So if somebody within that age, so we're talking about somebody that is about 9, 10, to maybe to start getting something higher, then it gets to 14, 15. But the question we need to ask ourselves is that the 35,000, or is it 30,000? Is it 30,000 or 35? I don't even understand again.
30.
No. 30. 30. Current minimum wage. The current minimum wage is 30,000. Do you know how many states that are able to pay?
Are not able to pay.
In fact, I learned that some states are still paying 7,000.
Some 18,000.
7,000, some paying 18,000. But there's something that came up this today, and this a governor of Lagos State, and I continue to come back to Lagos, maybe people feel Lagos has money. The governor of Lagos State has said today, I think it's today, yes, I'm quoting now, saying that nobody receives any less than, I think about 65 or 70,000 as minimum wage in Lagos now. That is commendable.
Yes.
That is commendable. So they are not even looking at the threshold of 30,000. They are looking at, they've gone beyond, it said from January this year, that no civil servants in Lagos receive anything less than 70,000 minimum wage. Some states cannot pay 30,000. And not only paying 30,000, some of them are owing up to 6-8 months. And when they pay, you know what they do? When they pay 1 month, they say, I paid 1, I've paid 2 months. As if it's not their duty to be able to do. So coming back to what the NAAT was saying, 350,000. How? Where now? But you don't blame them. NS started with 1 million. They moved to 500,000, 750,000. At the point we're talking about, I don't think what we need to do is the committee set up by government should be able to sit down with labor and agree on a sum that can be able to that most of this. But I am not. My personal opinion has always been that leave the state to pay what they can pay. That has mean. This is the federation, for goodness sake.
Let the state negotiate.
Let the state negotiate. We are talking of Lagos State. You cannot compare Lagos State, Rivers State, your state, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa State, Delta State, to Imo State. What do we have in Imo? Although we call us an oil producing state, what do we produce? What do we get from FAC?
CK, they are not talking about palm oil.
No, that's exactly, or coal. So what I'm saying is that my personal opinion is that we should be able to shift this burden to the state government. Let them pay what they can be able to pay. Not somebody in Abuja will sit and say the minimum wage is 30,000. Let every state pay. And you're not doing anything to be able to. That is for the state. Now, what of the private sector? How many people are employed in the federal and the state by the state government? I don't think they're up to 30% of the workforce. The private sector is suffering now. The SMEs are dying. Most of these companies cannot be able to do what they're supposed to do. Companies are closing down. Electricity, power, and the rest of them. So it is not just waking up and saying, everybody just throwing the cat, believe it. But I think it's the high time. We heard that the president, on his 1-year anniversary speech on the 29th, or either 1st, which is Workers' Day, or 29th of May, is going to make a pronouncement with this. Until then, but I still believe that the best way to go about this is allow each state to be able to do what they can do. Not just somebody at the federal just giving a blanket, as in everybody pay, every state must pay 50, 100. When some state can still not pay 30,000, it's a problem for me.
The problem is any state that cannot pay salaries now, I think that governor should be held responsible. Because they are earning more now. They are getting more money.
Yeah. In addition to internally generated.
No, it depends on the state. Because you can't compare a state like Lagos and maybe Gombe, for instance. What is the internal revenue from the state? And another thing is the loans that they have collected over time.
Some of them.
Some of the governors. Because I remember Kaduna State Governor when he was complaining
and Cross River as well.
The loans that they are paying. At the end of the day, they can't even pay salaries because they are paying heavily for the loans that were collected back then by the previous government. So if you have states who are fulfilling their loan obligation, 30,000 can even be difficult for them. And they don't also want to sack. So what they will just be doing is just to try and see how they can manage it. I remember even Oshun, when Oyetola was there, he tried to pay salaries bit by bit, so that he will be able to have a kind of a balance, bit by bit, just like that. But there are some states that can't. For this association to say 350, I know they have looked at a lot of things. Inflation is about 33.2%, recently. And with the fuel subsidy, removal, the government is yet to roll out, the transportation. Some state governments are also doing palliatives, but it's still not enough. People still want something that they will say, okay, fine, I'm going to work, and at the end of the month, this is what I will collect. Because from there, they will
Nigerians are asking for a living wage.
Now, yes, if you are asking for a living wage, there are so many things that will be. Let the government, I know there are so many policies, that this government is trying to put in place. And I know at some point, there will be that point where living wage will come into force. Yeah. Because if you look at it, if you have a functional and a cheap transport system, goods and services, especially foodstuff, are cheap. Okay?
And you can afford them.
Yes. No, wait, hold on. If you have all those things cheap and affordable, okay, when you are working, you can easily ask for living wage. You can ask for living wage. Because right now, what Nigerians are doing, Nigerians are not going to the market to buy things that they usually used to buy. Because all those things are out of reach. So people are just buying things because they want to survive.
Sorry, we have a call now from Abuja. I think, gentleman, Benga.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes. I appreciate this for going to contribute to the discussion there, especially on this minimum wages. If they are asking for 350,000 naira to pay, I want to ask, is the only government institution that will pay this money? Will the private sector and public sector be able to pay this money? For example, if a school is to pay the gate man, cleaner, 350,000 naira, then the civil servant who will collect this money should be ready to pay their school fees 10 times higher. Because it will cause inflation. Because like now I'm a private person, if I'm to pay my staff a cleaner 350,000, then it should be ready to pay my services. My price will increase by more than 500%. This will generate inflation.
Yeah.
And this will start context.
Benga,
this is not only government.
Benga, we thank you very kindly. Thank you very much.
Those are some of the things
that's why we ask
look at.
If 350,000 naira is rational and sustainable.
Sustainable, because if you look at it, if with 350,000, I'm not sure it can even take you home if you are a family of 4 for a month. Yes, because you still have to pay your bills from it. You transport yourself. You pay school fees.
Your landlord is likely to hike.
Exactly. If if it's a state that is collecting every month, you know, like for house rent and things like that, if you are staying in a 3-bedroom, if you're on band A, or, you know, if you're on band A, it means you might not even get electricity. You understand? So there's a lot that this committee has to look at so that they will be able to come out with something that is, you know, affordable, or something that the government can easily, you know, go on with, because the private sector will be involved.
All right. I hear we must apply the brakes here, but not before thanking Asukwa James for your time.
Thank you so much.
Chris Kainde Wando, we thank you very kindly too.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is where we draw the curtain on the show, but if you missed any part of this, not to worry. You may join us later tonight at 11 for a repeat broadcast. And of course, on Sunday, we'll give you a 2-hour stretch from 1:30 and 3:30. Just to inform you as well, we are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria.